Hello, welcome. Thank you very, very much to the wonderful Michelle Brown from Baby Sleep Experts for joining me today. Michelle is going to be telling us all about her journey. So Michelle, would you just kick us off by telling us a little bit about you and your role as a holistic sleep coach?
Yeah, okay. So I'm a busy mum of 3 football mad boys. We live in the UK and I'm also a pharmacist. And my interest in sleep started when my eldest boy didn't sleep well. He really struggled with sleep, and it kind of got to a point when I was going back to maternity leave when I knew I needed to do something, because at work it felt risky being so sleep deprived. I thought I might make mistakes. So that's when I started looking into the world of sleep. But people like Lindsay weren't around back then. So I had to do a bit of my own research. But I knew I didn't want to do quiet out, and that's what my GP kept telling me. So that started my interest in sleep right way back then. And I've since trained with Lindsay as a holistic sleep coach and started my business.
Amazing. So you were very much from that kind of medical realm, and you'd experienced being a healthcare professional and getting advice that perhaps just didn't sit right. So is there a particular type of family or type of work within sleep support that you now particularly enjoy?
Yeah, so I love working with parents who were in a similar situation as me. So mums or dads going back after parental leave, going back to work, feeling anxious about how they're going to cope on such disrupted sleep, or if they're back at work and struggling. I don't want to see mums, dads struggling, and there's so much you can do to improve sleep. So I love helping those sorts of families. I generally work with families between around 5 months and 2 years. They're quite often struggling with very frequent night waking, or they're looking towards moving towards more independent sleep. That's the sort of families I love helping.
Yeah. And how important was it for you to find a program that aligned with your personal parenting values? You mentioned that your eldest had been a tricky sleeper and you'd kind of tried to figure this out for yourself. Like, how did all that play out?
Yeah, I guess my pharmacy background meant I wanted research and evidence-based practice. Pharmacy is a very regulated industry, and I know sleep world is not. So I definitely wanted to do some training that was really science-based, as well as not sleep training. So I really wanted something, those main two things. So very much gentle and responsive, but also very much scientific and evidence-based. And that's how I came across your program. And also, I didn't want something that was just sort of a couple of days long and off you go and start your business. I wanted something that was really comprehensive. So starting me off with a really good foundation in sleep and starting my business like that.
Yeah. So it was the breadth and depth and the tools, but also the evidence-based and the underpinning kind of gentle philosophy. Did you have any worries about joining the program before you signed up?
I guess my main worry was that I wouldn't get any families wanting sleep, or finding families that, how do you get your first family? I mean, yes, I'd helped a few friends in the past, but that's a little bit different to having a successful business. So I guess that was my main worry.
Yeah.
How am I going to make this work?
Yeah. And I take it you no longer work as a pharmacist, do you? You now have put all your eggs into your sleep business, I believe. So how's that going?
Yeah, that's right. I was planning on doing a bit of both especially initially whilst I got my sleep business up and running. But COVID happened, and it was just about the time of the lockdown. So I kind of had to make a decision. I had to stop the pharmacy, focus on the homeschooling, but that gave me an opportunity to make a start on my business. And I remember sitting at my desk, homeschooling on one side, trying to write my website in the breaks. But yes, that's how it started. And now I've got a steady flow of patients, that's a pharmacy word, families, families coming in.
So you now have moved away from being a pharmacist and you're fully immersed in the sleep world. What are the differences, would you say? Do you think you've achieved the kind of work-life balance that you wanted by doing this?
Yes, so now I'm running my own business. I have my own timing, so it's so much more flexible. If I need to have a day off, or a school concert to go to, or a parents' evening, or picking my kids up from school, or dropping them in the morning, I just work my work life around that. I guess I'm just got a lot more control of my schedule, and I fit work in around the family rather than trying to make the family fit around my work schedule. So it's a lot easier to have a family doing this role than when I was out all day as a pharmacist and coming back quite late often.
Yeah. So you've got this lovely work-life balance, which is the dream, right? Do you think there are any similarities between the work you did as a pharmacist and your holistic sleep coach role?
Yeah, I think there are, actually, because both roles I'm helping people, and that's what I love doing, and I'm problem solving in both those roles. I think the difference is on sleep coaching, I really dig a lot deeper into their issues and how to solve them, and spend a lot more time getting to know the family, getting to know their issues and the child's needs, and really understand what's going on to help them solve those sorts of issues. So it's even more rewarding than being able to help families as a pharmacist.
Yeah. And when you say that you really enjoy helping families, which is, I mean, golly, that's what it's all about, isn't it? But would you say there is a particular case or result that you're particularly proud of that you can recall for us?
Yeah. So, well, over the past few years, I've seen dramatic changes in transformations in families' lives. I mean, I can tell you about a specific one, but also generally, I mean, you meet parents on the verge of divorce or signed off work because they're not coping because of the lack of sleep, or parents who say you've performed a miracle because their child's just slept through the first night ever in their life. That is just really rewarding. But there is one family who I've helped very recently. Baby was 7 months old, and mum was really struggling because the wakes were very frequent, like an hour, hourly, sometimes half hourly. And she kind of knew something wasn't quite right. And she'd been to the GP 5 or 6 times already, and just told that's just what babies do. Just go and get on with it. Anyway, she found me, and thankfully, and we went through all what she was going through. And it wasn't just entirely a sleep issue, because I could see there were other things going on underlying. I suspected an allergy. And I just gave her the confidence to go back just that one more time to the GP and ask for some more help. And although she didn't really want to, because she'd been so dismissed before, she did. And eventually she did get the support that she needed. And I think it was because she had the backing of someone else saying, you've got to do this for your child, that she was able to go back and start getting some help. And the child had undiagnosed CMPA. And when that was resolved, we were then able to resolve the rest of the sleep issues. But I think it was just the fact that she needed to have that reassurance that she wasn't going mad.
Yeah. And that's it, isn't it? It's so often not just the sleep support, but it's the empowering parents to be their own advocates, to be the expert on their own child. And sometimes they do need that reassurance and encouragement to go back one more time. And how brave of her to go and do that once more when she'd already been sort of sent away several times. So yeah, amazing story.
Right.
And it's so quick, isn't it? When a child is diagnosed with an allergy like that, it's days, isn't it? And parents think they have a different child within days, not weeks.
I think for her it was even hours.
Yeah.
It was dramatic.
Yeah. So that's the amazing thing when you uncover those sort of underlying factors. You know, it just goes to show that once again, you cannot treat health or feeding problems with sleep solutions. It just doesn't work. But of course, all of the other sleep support that you undoubtedly provided her with will have then suddenly all fallen into place because the underlying issue was gone.
Yeah, that's right. And I think my pharmacy background really helps me look for those signs and symptoms that underlying things might be happening. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
Moving on, Michelle, I wonder if you can think back to when you were studying on the programme. Was there anything that surprised you about it, either about the content or the support, anything that stood out for you?
Yeah, so I wasn't really expecting the level of support from the programme, like having a community around you. So it's not just do the course and then bye, good luck. It's more, let's help support you to set this up and get you started and help you be the best possible sleep coach you can be. And everyone in the community is really friendly and supportive and helpful, so you don't feel like you're doing it all on your own. And starting your own business, it's a steep learning curve. Well, it was for me, but the program gives you help and advice with business and marketing, which I wasn't really expecting. So that was really helpful too.
Yeah. And that's something that comes up quite a lot for people who don't come from an entrepreneurial background. So people who have had a substantive role in healthcare or teaching or whatever it is, one of the big concerns they have is, oh my gosh, am I really going to be able to leave my reliable, well-paid job and set up on my own? Will I be able to set up my own business? Is there any kind of any encouragement that you would have for somebody who feels like that? Or are there any tips that you used to grow your business, having come from such a different background beforehand?
I think it's just do one thing at a time. So you're never going to be able to do everything all at once. Have a website, have an email list. There's so many things that you can do for your business, but just focusing on one thing at a time. Otherwise, it just gets overwhelming. And then you start comparing your business with somebody else's business that's probably 10 years old and a lot more advanced than what you're doing right now at the start. So don't compare and just try and do one thing at a time.
So have you got any strategies that you particularly used to grow your business that you could share with anybody?
Yes. So I started off working mainly one-to-one with families, but then more recently, I've moved into more of a group coaching scenario. So I've got a very successful sleep coaching program, which has got a bit of one-to-one elements, but also some group coaching. And this has really helped me support lots of mums, because there's only a limited amount of time you've got. And if you're devoting that just to one-to-one families, you're really stuck with how many you can support. So I set up this program for mums going back to work with frequent night waking, and I've now had over 80 families successfully go through the program. So I would encourage, if it's something that you feel like you can do, don't put a time limit on what you can manage with one-to-one. There are other options, and these families really love it because they get ongoing support with me. There's no time limit on how much support they can get from me. And the other thing I do is run workshops and masterclasses for people to get to know me better. And quite often families will then start working with me one-to-one or in my sleep coaching program after we've had that little intro together.
That's fantastic. So they get sort of one-to-one support, but they also get some peer support, and they get that ongoing kind of mentoring with you as well. That's a really it's a really great model, and also just shows how much flexibility you have. So some people just love the one-to-one work. Some people only do face-to-face work because they just love, connecting on a really personal level. Other people only work internationally and do online work. And then some people do workshops and group coaching. And it sounds like for you, that's really worked and kind of ticks that box for you, that you can manage your time. You've got that work-life balance, but you've also got the opportunity to really get to know families and make a difference. It's amazing. And just to wrap up, what would you say to somebody who's thinking about joining the program but isn't sure it might be the right fit for them?
If you're looking for a comprehensive program about sleep, something that's holistic, something that's evidence-based, I'd say go for it. If you're not sure, there's loads of people in the community that you can ask questions.
Thank you so much. So very, very lastly, how can people get in touch with you? How can they find you, either your website or your social media handles?
So you'll find me on Instagram, The Baby Sleep Experts, and my website is thebabysleepexperts.co.uk.
Thank you so much. It has been a real pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you to everybody watching.
Thank you.